The lawyer opened the envelope. To my grandson Marcus, I leave my house at 847 Maple Street, valued at $780,000. My investment accounts, currently valued at $890,000, and all remaining assets. He paused. To my grandson David, I leave $5,000. $5,000? My grandmother raised me from age 6 after my parents died. She taught me to read, helped with homework, drove me to baseball practice. She paid for my college, and she left me $5,000? Let me back up. I'm David. I'm 34, marketing manager. My grandmother, Helen, was 82 when she died, 3 months ago. She'd been declining for 2 years. Dementia. Started small. Forgot appointments, repeated questions. Then it got worse. Forgot my name sometimes, thought I was my father, asked about people who'd been dead for decades. My brother Marcus moved in 18 months before she died. Someone needs to take care of her, he said. I can work remotely, I'll handle it. I visited twice weekly, brought groceries, spent time with her, but she was fading. 6 months before she died, Marcus said Grandma didn't want visitors. She gets confused when too many people come by. Doctor's orders. It's better if we keep things consistent. I reduced visits to weekly, then every other week. Marcus gave updates. She's comfortable, sleeping a lot, doesn't really recognize anyone anymore. Then she died. Peacefully, Marcus said, in her sleep. The funeral was small. A few neighbors, her church friends. I cried. Marcus didn't. 1 week later, the will reading. Marcus stopped everything. I got $5,000. The will was dated 3 months before her death, signed, notarized, legal. I sat there, stunned.
After the reading, I pulled Marcus aside. What happened? Why would Grandma do this? He shrugged. She made her choice. I was the one taking care of her. You barely visited. I told you not to visit. I said she got confused. You could have insisted, but you didn't. She noticed that. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. She had dementia, Marcus. She barely knew who I was those last months. Exactly. And I was the one who stayed, who helped her, who was there every day. He walked away. I went home and cried for 3 hours. Then I started thinking. Grandma changed her will 3 months before death. She had advanced dementia by then. Could she even make that decision? I called an estate lawyer, explained the situation. Your brother has the will. It's valid unless you can prove she lacked testamentary capacity when she signed it. What's that? The mental ability to understand what you're doing, to know your assets, to understand who your heirs are, to comprehend the effect of the will. She had dementia. That alone doesn't invalidate a will. You need evidence she specifically lacked capacity when she signed. How do I get that? Medical records, testimony from people who saw her, documentation of her mental state around that time. I requested Grandma's medical records. They showed dementia diagnosis, declining cognitive function, medications, but nothing specifically about the day she signed the will. I needed more. I started calling people who knew her, church friends, neighbors. Most said Marcus had kept them away. He said Helen needed rest, that visitors tired her out. One neighbor, Mrs. Patterson, said something interesting. There was a hospice nurse, Helen, nice woman. She came 3 times a week those last 6 months. I do know her last name. No, but the hospice agency would. I called the hospice agency, asked for Helen's contact information. They wouldn't give it to me, privacy, but they agreed to pass along my message. 3 days later, Helen called me.
We met at a coffee shop. Helen was 48, kind face, tired eyes. I'm glad you called, she said. I've been thinking about your grandmother. Why? Because of what I saw, what your brother did. My pulse quickened. Tell me. Helen pulled out a notebook. I keep a journal.
Not required, but I document things. Helps me process the work, the deaths. She opened it. Your grandmother was a sweet woman. Confused, yes, but sweet. When I started, 6 months before she died, she still had moments of clarity. What did you see Marcus do? Systematically isolate her, push away anyone who cared about her. She showed me entries. April 12th. Marcus told Mrs. Patterson not to visit anymore, said Helen was too tired. Mrs. P looked hurt. April 20th. Church group tried to visit. Marcus turned them away at door, heard him say she doesn't remember you anyway. May 3rd. David called, wanted to visit. Marcus said Helen was sleeping, but she was awake, sitting in living room. Asked Marcus why David doesn't come anymore. Marcus said he's busy with his life. I felt sick. May 15th. Lawyer visited today. Marcus had set it up. Helen, confused, asked why is he here? Marcus said, just paperwork, Grandma. Sign here. She signed without reading. May 18th. Helen asked about David again. Does my grandson still love me? She was crying. Marcus told her he moved away. He doesn't call anymore. That's not true. David calls every week. June 2nd. Helen told me she doesn't want Marcus to have her house. He's not kind, she said. David was always the kind one, like his father. Then she forgot she'd said it. June 8th. Marcus spent an hour on phone with financial advisor, moving Helen's investment accounts. Overheard him say, once it's official, I'll have full access. June 14th. Helen passed last night. Marcus didn't cry. First family death I've seen where the caregiver showed no emotion. He asked how quickly the house could be listed. I looked up at Helen. Why didn't you report this? Report what? He's family. He had power of attorney. Everything he did was legal, just not ethical. Would you testify about what you saw? Her mental state? She nodded. Absolutely. I filed a petition to contest the will. Testamentary incapacity, undue influence, elder financial abuse. Marcus fought it, hired expensive lawyers, claimed I was jealous, vindictive, making up stories. The court ordered a hearing. Both sides presented evidence. Marcus's lawyers showed the notarized will, medical records showing Grandma was stable the day she signed. Then my lawyer called Helen. She testified about the isolation, the manipulation, the day the lawyer came. Mrs. Thompson asked, why is he here? She didn't understand what she was signing. Marcus told her, just paperwork. She trusted him. She read from her journal, entry after entry documenting Marcus pushing people away, lying to Grandma, moving money. The judge asked Marcus direct questions. Did you prevent David from visiting? I said she got confused. Yes or no? Did you tell David not to visit? I suggested limiting visits. Did you tell your grandmother that David had moved away? Marcus hesitated. I may have said something like that. Was it true? No. The judge reviewed Grandma's medical records from the week she signed the will. Cognitive test scores, medication dosages, confusion documented by her doctor. On the date this will was executed, Mrs. Thompson scored a 14 on the mini mental state examination. Anything below 20 indicates cognitive impairment. Below 15 is severe impairment. The judge ruled against Marcus. The evidence shows Mrs. Thompson lacked testamentary capacity. She did not understand the nature of the document she was signing. Furthermore, Marcus Thompson exercised undue influence by isolating her from family, controlling information, and pressuring her to sign legal documents she could not comprehend. Fast, satisfying resolution. The new will was invalidated. Grandma's previous will, from 5 years earlier, before her diagnosis, was reinstated. That will split everything equally between Marcus and me. Each of us got $900,000. But it's not about the money. Marcus stole Grandma's last months, told her I didn't love her, that I'd abandoned her. She died thinking I'd left her. That's what hurts.
Marcus and I don't speak now. He sold his half of the house immediately, moved across the country. I kept my half, renovated it, turned Grandma's room into a home office. Sometimes I sit there and think about her, about how she raised me, loved me, sacrificed for me, and how my brother exploited her deteriorating mind to steal my inheritance. Gratefully, if Helen hadn't kept that journal, I'd have lost everything, and Marcus would have gotten away with it. So here's my question. Should elder financial abuse be a criminal offense, not just civil? Should there be mandatory capacity evaluations before major estate changes? How do we protect vulnerable people from family members who exploit them? Because Marcus almost succeeded. He had power of attorney, he had access, he had her trust, and he used all of it to rewrite her legacy. Leave a comment, share your experiences. If someone you love has dementia, document everything. Stay involved. Don't let anyone isolate them. Thank you for watching. If this story makes you think about elder abuse, share it. Stay vigilant, question sudden will changes, and remember that family doesn't always mean trustworthy, because my brother proved that. He stole $900,000 from our grandmother, while she forgot my name.